John Carpenter, thank you for that intro. We're back. It's been a minute. Glad you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying warm. Or cool, depending if you're in the Southwest United States.
Yeah.
We're back. This is the Hit Play. And in honor of the new thing that released, I don't even want to call it a movie. The event, no, that's too nice of a word too. The
Halloween ends.
sure, yeah, literally. Hopefully, fingers crossed. In honor of Halloween ends, excuse me, the new installments. We decided to watch not only that trilogy, but then we went and rewatched. Well, I went and
As many
rewatched
as we
Halloween.
could.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
many as we could.
Just to kind of get in the mindset. I did watch Halloween 2, and that's as far back as I got, and the original, obviously. Before we begin on the trilogy, though, is Halloween the greatest horror movie of all time? Let's just start with the heavy hitter.
The original Halloween.
The original,
Yeah.
the original 1978, 77, one of those years, I think.
Yeah, it's up there for me. I think out of the slasher movies, it's probably the most watchable out of them.
Yes, I agree.
The original Friday the 13th almost isn't even like a horror movie.
It's not even, yeah. It's scary when you're 10, but once you, like, actually have, like, cognitive dissonance to be like, oh, this isn't real, kind of just loses all effect on you as a person.
Nightmare on Elm Street is interesting. I think that was the one that I saw when I was a kid that scared me a little bit.
I mean, that makes sense. He's a freaky man in its dreams.
But, like, I don't think any, like, it's not a household name in the same way. Maybe back
Friday?
in the day. Well,
Or Nightmare on
Elm Street,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah.
And then Chainsaw Massacre.
That one's just weird.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the whole thing all the way through.
It's just weird. It's a weird thing.
It's a weird thing, yeah. It's certainly one of the horror movies of all time. Would you say Halloween is one of the best horror movies?
Yeah,
out there?
I think I think I would even go as far as to say it's my favorite Halloween.
But you don't
or
really
horror
like
movie
You don't really
of all
like
time.
horror movies.
Before we continue any further, I do not like horror movies. I am very much against it. So anytime I praise a horror movie, like Conjuring, like the 20 minutes of Midsummer that I could actually stand, even like if you want to get like The Lighthouse, quasi horror kind of. Jaws, Terminator, Alien,
Avatar.
The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that one specifically.
Anytime I praise a movie, a horror movie specifically, I guess I should say, that means I like it a lot. And I think Halloween, like you said, it's one of the most rewatchable.
Oh yeah,
but it's also just super just laid back. It's so simple in its premise. A guy is coming back home to kill more people.
yeah. It's surprisingly original too.
Yeah.
I think that what John Carpenter did with that premise, which could have been like any thriller movie from any point in time, especially before, when did it come out? Like 1978.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, there are Alfred Hitchcock movies which are basically just that premise, but I think what John Carpenter did with it, making it more of a, like, now you're in neighborhoods that the audience is living in. Good job having ESPN app immediately opened up on your first.
3-3, man. Gotta make moves.
And I think that adds to the rewatchability, is just how impressively original it is, both in the soundtrack, which John Carpenter did himself.
Multi-talented individual.
Very definitely a multi-talented individual. And I think out of those, that era of slasher movies, it's probably definitely the scariest out of all of them. I don't think that, well, it also came first.
Yeah. And a lot of the horror is not in its the villain per se. I mean, the villain is obviously scary. It's a man in a white mask, bleached white mask, Captain Kirk mask, by the
Yeah.
way. Just kind of just killing people randomly. But a lot of it is like you could turn on the news and this could happen.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, Friday the 13th, a lady killing, 6 teenagers at a lake.
Mm-hmm. It's like I don't live near a
Is
lake.
is that gonna actually happen? And then it's like Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like
In your dreams.
could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously it's based on like an old Japanese era of time or like a folk tale or something where somebody killed somebody in their dreams, but it's all folk tales. But this is like we could see this like tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Or on Halloween.
Yeah, which is always to me it's always been the creepiest part, especially nowadays with so many issues going on with stuff like this.
Now, how do you feel about the sequel, Halloween 2?
The 1970-ish, the 1970 era one?
Yes, literally Halloween 2.
Halloween double
Which
Roman numeral.
Is interestingly not even a sequel. It's like a straight continuation of the story. Literally picks up
where the first
where
one
the first one left off.
Which is interesting because you don't see that ever in a horror movie. It's usually we're
Yeah.
going to take either the protagonists and have them face a new villain like The Conjuring does, or we're going to have the antagonist
Just kill
just
a new
come
group of
into a
people.
new era, which
Yeah.
is literally every other slasher franchise.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that Halloween did it again with the new trilogy as well.
Yeah.
Where they're all straight continuations of
Yeah.
each other.
It's almost like they try to copy and paste what made the first two good and then just failed at everything that made the first two. I actually like the second one. I went to rewatch it the other day because I was like, I haven't seen this movie in forever. Now, let me preface that. I like it in relation to literally almost every other sequel of the Halloween franchise.
Understandable.
I mean, as a sequel, as like a movie, as a standalone movie, I mean, it's just number one, but they're just in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's nothing new, per se.
Dude, the friggin' hospital scene annoyed me when I was watching it. No one's in there.
Yeah.
How is this an entire hospital and there's only like 4 people on staff and no patients at all at any point? I at least appreciated that about Halloween Kills when they go to the hospital and it's freaking packed with people. But man, Halloween 2, what are you doing? Also, people like will make fun of characters in horror movies for being stupid or making dumb decisions.
They might actually be like
but
dumb.
in Halloween 2, there is literally the most, like, out of all the poor decisions you could possibly make, the least rational, the least possible rational decision is made in Halloween 2, which is to kill a man with a car without having any evidence against him or any, like, prove that he is the man that you say that he is.
Yeah. My favorite part. Yeah. yeah. Wait a minute. I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when the two nurses, the guy and the girl, go into the hot tub and the guy gets strangled. But the way that the camera and the actress are is like, she's definitely seeing him get strangled. Because it's supposed to be like, oh, she's not paying attention behind her and this and that. But it's like, she's within 180 degrees. Unless she's just absolutely blind as a bat, which is possible. It's like, no, she could see that. So I think that's where the trend of let's just have our characters be dumb.
Yeah.
Because even in the first one, they're not dumb.
They're not
just
idiots. Yeah. They're
teenagers.
Just, yeah. Or more realistically, they're scared.
Yeah.
Which is probably, you would hope that that's why they're making dumb decisions, is
Yeah.
because they're literally terrified out of their minds.
And they're all trying to get laid.
Yeah, and people make dumb decisions when they're horny. But
Their mind is preoccupied.
outside of that, I think people like took that too far in the way that it's like, no, you're just dumb.
There's no motivation behind the dumbness.
Yeah, like even if you were in a situation scared, you wouldn't make those same decisions. You like, oh God, it's so stupid. Anyway, we should specify too that we were like, okay, we're gonna watch the Halloween Ends, watch the other Halloween movies, but then we were like, these new ones have Jamie Lee Curtis.
They're an
as
actual, like,
Laura Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, well, let's just watch the ones with just Jamie Lee Curtis in it. So that excludes Halloween 3, which doesn't even have Michael Myers, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and I think Halloween 6.
If we're gonna keep naming them, we're gonna be like 10 minutes.
Halloween, 20 years.
Two Ween.
2 Hollow, 2 Ween. Halloween H2O has Jamie Lee Curtis in it, as well as its sequel, Halloween Resurrection. But the plot points in that movie regarding Laurie Strode and her relationship to Michael Myers actually get what's the word? Like not updated, but retconned, yeah, in the new ones. And so even those ones are completely worthless to watch anyway, and they're also not even that good. That being said, though, one thing I appreciate about almost all of these movies across the board is how Laurie Strode is like the most take charge and actually kind of like against Michael Myers. She's actually the like only person willing to fight against him in all of these movies. And that's one of the things that like there's a scene in H2O where she like has a guy over for dinner and then like they get word that Michael Myers is there. She just like grabs a gun under her pillow and she's like wait here and leaves, and I'm like yes.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It helps that you have a cool actress like Jamie Lee Curtis too.
Yeah.
It maybe isn't, the most classically fundamental actress in the world, but she can play a character that is so take charge and like gun ho.
She is that character. Like it's just so well done. And I personally love that direction that they took the character of Laurie Strode in, because it's like
it's realistic.
Yeah, if your friends were murdered and you were attacked by a serial killer, you would live the rest of your life basically in paranoia, or at least in a constant state of preparation.
Especially if you didn't know if he was, taken away. Yeah.
He also dies in H2O, and then they made a sequel to it anyway. And
where he comes back to life?
Yeah, it's so stupid, honestly.
Yeah. So Halloween is the original, at least.
Good movie.
Good movie. Great movie.
Good scary movie. Classic Halloween film.
I have to watch it every Halloween. I for some reason you have to watch it every Halloween.
It's a good one to show the people who haven't seen it for the first time.
Yeah. And it's got a little bit for everything, right? It's a good, fun horror movie. It's got some gruesome kills. Not too gruesome if you're a little queasy on the blood with like me. I'm not a big fan of the big gore. But it's got that classical filmatic or like film nerd stuff with the, virginity saves all, and it's cool. There's also like cool techniques they did as far as like stunts and camera work and lighting, suspense, soundtrack, music, if you're into that. I mean, the soundtrack is iconic. Nothing ever gets me more hyped than watching the opening credits.
I love that they keep that
just
consistent.
The Halloween theme blaring.
Yeah. It's so loud in theater, too.
I love it.
I love the freaking techno remix that they did for Halloween Ends.
I watched Halloween 2018 opening weekend, too. And when that came on, I was just like, this is amazing.
This to me is cinema.
It was so much fun. It's such a fun theme to just listen to.
So, Halloween 2018, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I actually willingly went to go watch this movie. I told my friend, I was like, we're going to go watch this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my boogeyman to sleep. I'm going to do my Laurie Strode. I'm just going to face it. And I was very excited to see it, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it's more or less the original, minus Laurie Strode is now a badass. She's going full, like, Wastelander, like John Wick mode, which is super cool to see. I remember it like broke the internet that she was at a shooting range in one of the trailers. It's like, Laurie Strode has a gun? It's like, mean...
Because like Jamie Lee Curtis in real life was not...
I think she's anti-Second Amendment or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. But the character, Laurie Strode in the movie, has like an entire arsenal.
All I'm saying is if she's on QAnon, makes sense.
Laurie Strode seems like she would be that kind of person.
You think she was at the January 6th?
Michael is here. He has to be here somewhere.
It's like, relax. It's just Michael Bloomberg.
So, yeah, I liked that in Halloween 2018. They didn't remake the original Halloween 8, the first one.
Yeah.
Which had already been done by Rob Zombie, by the way. But they used Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie Strode to tell like a generational version of Halloween.
Yeah.
Where it was like, it affected Laurie Strode, and she then affected her daughter, and now it's affecting her granddaughter. And the three of them come together to fight Michael Myers, and it lasts for 3 movies.
Somehow. Some
Yeah.
way.
They found a way to do it. David Gordon Green and Danny McBride found a way to do it.
I feel like they just smoked a bunch of weed before writing each script.
There were scenes in Halloween Ends where I was like, they
Ends ending
were just-
kills where I
yeah.
was like, these guys are definitely high. Like, did nobody? I guess we'll get to those two later, but did nobody ever just pause and think like, should we write this?
Yeah.
Should we have characters talk like this? I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't.
Who knows? I mean, there's not much to say about Halloween 2018 without the context of the other 2 movies.
Yeah.
So Halloween Kills, I saw the extended.
Let me ask you
yeah,
this:
Yeah. Go
Did
ahead.
you think it was going to be a whole trilogy?
Are you saying back then when it first came out,
Yes.
or like, back?
I could see a sequel in the works, especially the way it ended, where it was. I think it was ambiguous, like
Well, I didn't see it when it
the
first
fire
came out.
and.
So looking
like,
back
how did it end?
at it,
I know the fire trucks go to the house.
it ends with the house on fire.
Yeah.
We don't see the fire
We don't
trucks until
see-
Halloween Kills. So it ends with the house burning.
Okay, maybe I
And
got
they're
those
getting
wrong.
away. Oddly enough, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, they get away on the back of a truck, and then Halloween Kills picks up with
I definitely thought there was going to be a
the
sequel. though.
firefighters.
It's like we don't. Classic Hollywood rule: if you don't see the body, they're not dead.
yeah,
Especially in a horror. Like rule number 1 of a horror movie. Okay, maybe not rule number 1. Maybe like
Yeah.
rule 4 or 5. If you don't see a body, they're not dead.
yeah. There's some ghost movies that might have something to say about that rule, but
I mean, Casper. We never saw Casper's body.
we've never
That's
seen
a good
Casper's
point. That's a
body.
good
Yeah,
point.
it's a good point.
All right, now Halloween
Do we ever see Bruce Willis's body? No.
Kills, which continues immediately after.
Mm-hmm. It tells like a flashback as well.
There's some stuff going on in this movie.
This movie's okay. First off, it's really long.
Like 60
No.
minutes too long.
It's like it's I think it's 2 hours.
Yes.
But the reason why it felt long to me was because there were so many scenes that felt disconnected that didn't come together until like half an hour or a whole hour later. You get introduced to so many characters, many of whom immediately get attacked by Michael Myers as
or
soon
that
as
we
you meet
just-
them.
Don't care about.
Yeah. And then you have to wait the entire rest of the movie before they all come together and then die anyway. Because of course they do. It's a horror movie. No spoiler for that, by the way. If you see a secondary character in a horror movie
They're dead.
with motivation,
They're dead.
they're dead.
Yeah, I was immediately out when we got introduced to the nurse and doctor couple.
They were actually in the first movie.
Yeah, I went back to watch like clips of it, and I was surprised to see them.
Yeah, they show up for like a single moment.
They're literally when Michael shows up to Haddonfield
Mhm.
or like the street.
And then they appear in Halloween
Yeah.
Kills, and then sure enough, first off, very appropriate title for this movie. Halloween Killed all over the place.
Yeah, it kills my desire to see any more of these movies. That's for sure.
Unnecessarily violent, I would say, to a degree.
Yeah, it
Like,
turned into an action movie like 10 minutes in, and I was like, at first I was down,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, we're gonna like when he does a whole like kicks the door like it's the Matrix and makes the girl shoot herself. I was like,
He's
am
Sherlock
I actually
Holmes.
down with this right now?
He's Sherlock Holmes seeing 10
Yeah.
steps ahead.
It's like she's gonna shoot a gun. 5 seconds. Kick door. Boom. Hit her in the face. Gun discharges.
So stupid.
Dislocated jaw. Status dead.
And what I appreciated least about all three of these movies is that they actually don't shy away from the gore either, which I think for a horror movie usually just adds to the suspense of it. Is these
Yeah.
people die, but you either aren't seeing how they die, or you aren't actually witnessing how gruesome. So that's still left up to your imagination. But with these three movies, they take the liberty of having close-ups of all of these dead bodies at one point.
That's the thing about Michael Myers, which was so unsettling too in the first one, is he enjoys killing these people, obviously, but he doesn't enjoy. Like, it's easy for him to just, bash their brains in with a bat.
Yeah.
He enjoys sitting there and strangling them, or slicing their necks and watching them slowly bleed out, or stabbing them and hanging them right there on the door, which is, by the way, my favorite kill in the entire franchise. It's so badass. But he enjoys like that slow, meticulous process of like, I want these people to feel them dying.
Here's what I would say.
So when he goes and he just pushes a chick against the door, or like the boyfriend, he like just breaks the boyfriend's neck against the wall. I'm like,
yeah,
that's something Michael would actually do.
Here's to me what I think the big issue is in the original Halloween. It's almost like he has a goal in mind, and he's just getting the people who are in his way. Like, clearly his goal is Laurie Strode, and so anybody who is just in his way, he gets rid of. In these new movies, it feels like just any random person he sees on the street, he's willing to kill. There's a scene at the beginning, towards in Halloween 2018, where he goes to a gas station, and he kills like the attendant at the gas station, the pump serviceman, and the two reporters in the bathroom, who, by the way, like, that's their entire story arc.
Yeah.
Is they're introduced at the beginning, and then they die like 30 minutes later, and there's no resolution other than their deaths, which the movie isn't even trying to play like a commentary on. It's just meant to be shocking that they die, which isn't interesting in my opinion. So that's my biggest issue with these new ones, especially freaking Halloween Kills, where it's like, it's almost unnecessary how many people he kills. Like, this guy's supposed to be Anton Chigurh, who is like precise and exacting, and instead it's like, dude just like 1v50s at the end of the movie.
He took a guy's chainsaw and just flipped it on his head, and
he turns into freaking Madara at the end of the movie, fighting the Shinobi Alliance.
All right, Darth Vader, relax.
Fair enough. Seriously, it's not. What upsets me is not that it's ridiculous; it's that it feels counterintuitive.
It's just
to
not
horror.
It's not the formula for a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
at least the original, right?
Yeah, and it's not scary either. Like, gore isn't scary.
Yeah,
just outright.
Which is why that mid 2000s, where every of these franchises turned into a gore fest, was like, that's why they're probably the least, like the lowest ranked, because nobody enjoys gore.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like they just saw Saw and we're like, let's all do that.
Yeah. So,
was there anything redeeming about Halloween Kills for you? Because we can't even sit here and say, oh, Laurie and Michael had a fight. They were never on screen together.
Yeah.
Which is so, like, we wasted 2 hours to not have them together.
Honestly, the most redeeming thing I can say about it is that at least it somewhat felt cohesive. That was my big issue.
Did it though?
The first Halloween was.
What is cohesive about a mob forming and taking over
those people die
martial
at the
law?
end of the movie. Yeah. It's Halloween Kills is, in a weird way, I don't even feel that it's bad. I just feel like it's weird.
It's just boring. It's like,
in a weird way, the fact that it confused me kept me more interested. So.
what they should have done is they should have taken the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes and just
done that.
Put them in
side by side.
The other movies, right? The other two movies. So you put the first 30 in Halloween, you put the last 30 in Halloween Ends, and then you just make two separate movies.
Fair enough. In a weird way, I can't think of a better way to do it than what they did. But what they did was just weird.
There's a lot of talking.
There's a lot of talking. It's I can't even describe like the movie. Like I don't even think I could do a plot summary.
Was it scary?
No, it wasn't scary. Not a single moment.
Yeah, it
In
wasn't
any
really scary.
three of these movies, they're not scary. Just outright, they're not terrifying or scary.
The first
They're
one
not
had me
horror
more
movies.
hyped than anything.
Yeah.
Like when he comes
Yeah,
back
seriously.
and it's that one long runner where he goes through all the houses killing people.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, this is cool." I was actually rooting for him. I was like, "Yeah." You see the theme start blaring in the back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yo, let's get it."
I think what might have been lost in translation from the first, because the thing with the original Halloween is they kind of fit into these slasher movies. How horror movies are entirely allegorical or metaphorical. They're always supposed to be. And the first movie, like you said, fits into this idea of like, purity or like culture purity in this weird way. Even if you disagree with the idea that Halloween is about like preserving Christian norms and like, sex outside the marriage will get you killed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At least you can say that about the first Halloween and have an opinion on it, like thematically. These movies just missed that.
Yeah.
Until Halloween ends.
Because it literally ended my hopes and dreams for this franchise.
So we saw it in IMAX.
Yeah, that was the worst $20 I ever
which
spent.
you did not have to do.
We implore you to not do that. Go watch Top Gun again in IMAX or
IMAX.
something. Go watch Avatar in IMAX. Go watch freaking Thor in IMAX. Don't go watch this in IMAX.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like it was shot for
It
IMAX
was
either.
not shot in IMAX. The sound wasn't even anything
Impressive.
like. Usually with IMAX, it has that spatial directional sound to it
Yeah.
in the theaters. I didn't.
There were
feel
moments where it
anything.
felt like the audio was clipping.
Yeah, I felt nothing. Like I felt nothing where I was like, "Oh, I'm watching IMAX." Just felt like I was in a regular theater.
So what'd you think about Halloween Ends?
I hoped and dreamed that everybody in that movie would have died, including Michael Myers,
Yeah.
which is sad. But I feel like I thought it was high watching that movie.
like a fever dream.
I thought we were watching a different. I thought we got set up for like a prank. I thought somebody set us up for a prank. This isn't actually Halloween.
Yeah. The two guys sitting in front of us were going to turn around and be like, got you.
Yeah. I was like, what is going I like looked around for cameras. I was like, am I being punked? Am I gonna meet Ashton Kutcher right now? It was bad. I'll just say it. Like, I don't like saying movies are bad, but that movie, I mean I do like saying movies are bad, but that movie was bad. Let me just, for those of you who don't want to skip through the rest of this, don't want to listen to us talk, I'll just give you one word, one sentence. Michael Myers doesn't appear until the 45-minute mark of this movie. That's all you need to know about this movie. In a movie where he is on the poster and it is called Halloween, it's not called like Freddy versus Jason or, Saw versus Michael, whatever. It's Halloween. It's his movie, his final showdown with Laurie Strode. He doesn't appear until the 45-minute mark. Who greenlit that decision?
So in my opinion, I think I was so upset, maybe not upset, but confused at Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills as to why they had thematically jumped the ship on what the first Halloween movie was more or less about.
Mhm.
That for this movie to take a completely thematic route
It was just
compared to
weird.
everything else, it is a complete, like, it then jumps the shark of its own trilogy.
It's so
such a
weird.
mood whiplash. I really liked it.
I hate you so much right now.
I feel like the first 40 or so minutes before Michael shows up is actually a not realistic but fairly compelling look at how the trauma of death and this serial killer has affected these people.
Yes. Make that its own movie. Don't make it a Halloween movie with Michael Myers.
If it wasn't for the fact that Michael Myers is on the poster and in the trailers, if they had the balls to make this movie just that story,
Yes.
I feel like I wouldn't know what to say other than I would honestly just be so impressed I would be speechless.
I was actually that opening cold open where I won't spoil it or anything, but that cold open, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
What kind of movie are we going to get out of this?
Exactly. I was really, really excited. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then it just immediately stagnated for 40 minutes. Michael Myers appeared and it turns into like Darth Sidious, Darth Vader. Like Anakin Skywalker, you won't take her away from me kind of thing. Literally.
Killing younglings.
You won't take her away from me.
When he's
like, the whole time I was just so confused. It wasn't scary at all. I think I wasn't scared at all. And I was just like, this is just no.
So my biggest issue, I think, is the fact that how they tried to incorporate Michael Myers into this idea, into this movie. I understand that they were going for using his, like, how he symbolically stands as evil, how he represents evil. How they dramatize that with him basically converting this kid into a Michael Myers. I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, it's the first idea you come up with, but it's probably not the best idea.
There's something else we can do there.
Yeah. But
no, I agree with that.
I am at least impressed with the route that they took this movie in, because it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But in a way that to me, I like appreciated that in a way, especially because I felt like it had to be done. Like, especially with the Halloween Kills, for example, where it's like, well, yeah, how would something like that happening to your life?
He just dropped the population in half by himself.
Basically.
He is like, Thanos, but in real life.
Yeah. This is the Avengers. This is the first half of Avengers Endgame, but with Michael Myers. Literally. Because you have the daughter who
somehow got worse over the trilogy.
Somehow
what
gets
happened
worse.
With that?
But, you know, she like finds meaning and confides in somebody who has a similar experience to her relating to deaths and wrongful accusations. Then you have Laurie Strode, who tries to turn a new leaf.
Correct.
But still remains in Haddonfield anyway. But she finds she can exercise her trauma through her writing and through her relationship with her drama.
Should have been a podcast.
Should have been a
podcast.
No. And then you have the actual protagonist of this movie. Interestingly enough, what was his name? Colin?
I think it's Corey.
I think it's Corey. You have Corey, the protagonist of this movie, who is simultaneously an extremely compelling and interesting character, and just the worst idea anybody ever could have had.
The problem is all of these people just suck. Like, if you're gonna make a story where Michael Myers is this guy, his name was Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
Where Michael Myers is, you know, he has this grip on this town. This town.
Mm-hmm.
He can, you know, evil infects things, which is weird because we're like personifying evil now, and we're like, it's a disease, I guess, now in this world. Which, you know, up for debate. I'm not a psychologist. I'm willing to listen to it. It's like, can we make these people somewhat cool, for like relatable, real people? Like, nobody talks like a real person. Nobody does things like a real person. It's just they're just agents
Yeah.
to
A theme.
push to push the theme forward. It's not like Thor, like Corey is this guy who we're supposed to say like, oh, he looks cool, and he was this up and coming kid. He was supposed to go to engineering school.
And
All
he
this
had that
stuff was
taken
supposed to
away from
happen.
him.
Then he all this taken away from him. But nothing in the first 10 minutes was like, I like you. You're getting punked by a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That's not.
Kid had it coming though, but still.
I mean,
Let's not lie.
you're not wrong. But it's like,
Yeah.
if you want us to relate to you and to go on this, to have you believe, that Michael has that effect on people and he can do these things and it can happen to anyone, even the most, promising of Jedi,
Yeah.
the chosen one per se. You have to make them have some redeeming qualities. And I just feel like Corey had no redeeming qualities. The granddaughter had no redeeming qualities. And even Laurie Strode herself kind of like
Did nothing.
become a different person.
Yeah.
Up until there's one scene at the end where I'm like, yo, there she is.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what scene you're talking about too.
Yeah. I
Well,
literally was just like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. We're back, baby.
Where was this movie an hour and a half ago?
So I think to that point, this is definitely one of those things where you can see, again, you see the deaths coming because you can point to the characters and be like, if you're gonna act this way in a horror movie, you're gonna die later. Like, come on, kid.
Yeah.
Those deaths like made sense to play into the characters and their personal like story arcs, but they weren't compelling deaths. They weren't interesting. The characters were too generically not even evil, just like bullies. Literally bullies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just overall, here's what I would say. This movie is definitely the result of more than a few smoke sessions. But at least the philosophy that they could inject into this movie stands out from the others. And for that, I kind of respect it in a way. That they would take that left of a turn compared to Halloween Kills. I like that they did that. And I think that there are elements of this movie, and in my opinion, the interpersonal relationship between the characters were still compelling to me. Like, if you look at this movie as an examination of how the trauma of not death, but like literally killing people, how that would affect your psyche and your relationships with other people, then this, which is how I was thinking about it when I was watching it, and I was pretty compelled by it. The only issue is that where they take that is too mid. And even then, the actual climax of this movie, the big in the trailer, Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode, is probably the least interesting scene in this movie for me. It was like one of the least compelling moments in this whole movie.
So, spoiler alert, Michael Myers is apparently JFK. Or Lincoln.
Yeah.
What was that all about? We don't have to get into it because of spoilers, but...
Spoiler alert, Michael Myers dies at the end of this movie. It's literally in the
I feel
title.
like it's very...
It happens in all the other ones,
I was
too.
going to say, I feel like it's pretty... I mean, Halloween ends. It's...
The way he dies is what disappointed me. Dude, in freaking H2O, she chops his head off with an axe.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, she just slits his wrists. They dispose of the body in a way that was a cool Chekhov's gun.
Also,
But
here's the thing about these movies and just Halloween post the 1978 version.
all the other ones.
Yeah. Michael Myers is like borderline a superhero or supervillain, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he has this.
They do.
I mean, I guess he's a.
supernatural.
I guess he's a dead. Which came first, the Dead by Daylight character or the? No, but it's like people were always like, "Oh, he has this grip on you, and he makes you feel these things, and he can do these things," and it's like, nah, man, he's just a 6'8" guy who has superhuman strength.
Yeah.
Just understandable because he's freaking tall.
Yeah.
And he's just a cold-blooded killer who's just weird.
They
Really,
just-
nothing more to it. And
Yeah.
they still have this thing where they're like, I mean, the new one is straight up just here.
It's actually supernatural.
Let's go into the Avatar state.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going on?
There's a scene in Halloween 2, the sequel to the first one, where he walks through a glass door at
Yeah.
the hospital.
Yeah.
And
He
I'm
gets
like,
shot in the eyes twice. Both eyes. They're bleeding. Clearly has some kind of brain damage and is still swinging a knife.
yeah.
And then he gets set on fire.
His suit was
And then he
flame
comes-
retardant, clearly.
Out of the fire. And then collapses.
Dude's Chris Angel.
It's like, I don't know, man. The first movie, he took his mask off and he freaked out. Where did that jump in
Yeah.
super? Like, how in a span of 6 hours did that happen?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so crazy to me. What do you think of the theory that, or I guess I don't know if it's a theory, but that all three of these movies were supposed to take place within 24 hours of each other, or within a 24-hour span, I should say.
Is that a theory?
Do you think that would have been? Well, that was the original thinking, and then COVID happened, and they had rewrites and stuff like that. Especially for this one, I mean, I could tell because why do we have a 4-year time jump between kills and ends?
Well, also, Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills take place on Halloween.
right.
And then this movie clearly takes place on the day before Halloween of another year.
4 years later.
4 years
It was
later.
like a 4-year time jump.
Yeah. So they
Which is really weird.
could not take place on the same day.
Yeah.
That's a dumb theory. Who
I
are you
mean,
getting
but
that
it
from?
But it makes sense though because the first one starts. I mean, when she goes to school, and it's a whole night.
Yeah. No. Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills are definitely continuations of each other.
No, but I'm saying it's a 24-hour thing. So it's like November 1st technically would be when the Halloween ends, which honestly fits thematically or at least well with the title. Halloween ends, it's
yeah.
over. It's
If
November
it wasn't
1st.
for the fact that there
Bring
is
out the turkeys.
If it wasn't for the fact that there's a title card that says Halloween, like October 31st, I don't know if that. I think that might put a wrench in your works there.
I'm just telling you what I read online.
Fair enough. Don't believe everything you read on.
Yeah. I'm just saying what I was told, what was apparently Danny McBride and the other writers were thinking. But they might have been high when they said it, so who knows?
True. To recap, Halloween 2018, fairly good. A
B.
good reboot. It's not a remake. It's a good reboot.
B. It's
B
a sequel.
tier.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel, yeah. Well, I
not a-
think it's a
it's-
reboot because it's just literally bringing Laurie Strode back into it. Whatever the actual terminology, whichever word is definitionally
Sure.
correct. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
So would you consider Top Gun Maverick a reboot? It's just bringing back the characters.
That is true. I mean, if they make more, technically it rebooted the franchise.
True.
Halloween Kills, probably F tier, straight up.
Trash.
In a weird way, I don't feel like it's a trash movie. It's so confusing to me that I don't know what to say about it, which is like the worst possible review I can give. But
And the people aren't even people.
yeah, I don't know, man. That movie is just.
It's like we just forced this guy to jump off a building and kill
I almost
himself.
feel like I can't give it a rating. Like I sat through the entire thing, and I don't even feel like an F conveys.
Doesn't do it justice. It deserves like double F.
I feel like I would
Or
almost.
half an F.
The worst ranking I could give it would be to just not bother ranking it at all. In a weird way. That's
You
that's
turning
what I would
into
do.
Anthony Fantano.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Or what is it? Light zero.
No, he gives not goods to. He doesn't rank. Not
Oh, he
good
doesn't
that
do
way.
zeros, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a zero. It's just it's not good. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's so bad.
Halloween
confuses me.
Kills, I think I would give it a. I don't know because the ending was really fun for like 10 minutes.
When he fights a crowd of people, that's interesting. When he kills the daughter, it is the worst death.
When does he kill
scene.
people?
Yeah. No, and Halloween Kills.
Oh, Halloween Kills. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking of Halloween Ends. Sorry. Yeah, no, Kills is definitely not good. Halloween Ends
Halloween
is.
I'd still
That's
say
what
to
I
be-
meant by it's good for 10 minutes,
yeah.
and then you're like, all right.
I almost want to give him an A for effort, but I'll give him a B for effort.
A B for be better.
Yeah, a B for better luck next time.
I'm gonna give him a. I don't even know. I think I'm also just gonna give him a not good.
Not good. Fair enough. I don't know. Like I said, I love the fact that they were like, we're just not gonna make a horror movie. We're just gonna take the themes of Halloween, and that's gonna be this movie.
Let's burn it
It's just
down.
gonna be the interpersonal
I
lives
light the
of these
match.
characters.
What is it? Tumblr? You got that from Tumblr or something?
No idea, dude.
I'll light the match. Let's burn it down.
But
What am I watching right now?
yeah. Dialogue, not impressive. Acting,
No.
pretty mid.
Yeah,
Story,
everybody but Laurie Strode and Michael Myers were garbage.
Yeah. The story overall is interesting to a point. It's interesting. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
not even that entertaining. It's just interesting. That being said, I still love the fact that they took it in that direction, and I feel like that is a better end than literally just having like the only better movie they could have done was just have like a 2 hour long fight scene between Laurie Strode and Halloween, but even that
I
would
would've
get
watched
boring
it.
at a point. I would argue. So I think it's not a good movie, but
I feel like you've been trying to persuade yourself.
I'm trying to find the right word to describe how I feel because I actually like I'm just repeating
It has
myself.
good parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has more than good parts, in my opinion.
It's got good stuff going. It's got a lot of good half-baked ideas. The problem is they forgot to preheat the oven. So when they took it out at 20 minutes,
No.
everything was still gooey on the inside, and the guests came over, and the cookies were ruined.
I think half baked is the best description of Halloween Ends that you could possibly give it. That's what I would rank this movie. Half baked.
There's a lot of movies like that.
Yeah. Literally the movie Half Baked.
All right. Any final thoughts, words on Halloween? Would you watch another Halloween?
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
probably would.
If it doesn't have Laurie Strode, if we have an actual good character.
Yeah. No, it's going to be the daughter. It's going to be Allison and her.
That's the thing that
story.
frustrated me. Okay, before we go. The first of this trilogy was supposed to it was like we're going to pass the torch to this girl, right? That was the thought process. The daughter wants nothing to do with the mom, with Laurie Strode, which is fine. You know, she obviously has childhood trauma from living in fear for, X amount of years of her life. But the granddaughter is trying to be, trying to be in her grandma's life, whatever. They go through that trauma, and it's like the way the movie was presented too, because they were even like, well, we picked an unknown actress because we just wanted to replicate the original Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. Let's just get a relatively unknown actress and just propel her to stardom. The problem with that is they're like, this character has no agency. Her thing is literally, I'm just gonna do whatever my grandma is not doing, or my mom is not doing. Oh, my mom wants me to stay and watch my grandma. Psych, I'm a independent woman who don't need no man or mom. Oh, my mom died. Now I'm just gonna rebel against my grandma. It's like there's no fun, for lack of a better word, in that. It's supposed to be a passing of the torch so we get a new generation. And there's no new generation. And now Michael's dead.
For now.
And that's what I have to say about that. Well, I guess this version of Michael.
Yeah, this version of Michael. I don't know, dude. I honestly, no idea.
That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, there's so many things they just could have done.
A lot of wasted potential in this trilogy.
Oh, but yeah, up until I think the first movie, they whatever they were going for, they at least got close. Halloween Kills, they kind of had no idea what they were doing. Probably
they went everywhere with that one.
I think with Halloween Ends, they had a goal in mind, and I think that for a good majority of the movie, they hit that goal. And then I think they just kind of did what they felt was best.
Yeah.
And it didn't land.
Weird franchise.
Weird franchise.
Weird
Really
everything
weird.
with this trilogy.
Yeah, seriously. It's kind of weird to think that these even exist. These are movies that were funded by people.
Yeah. That's yeah. Well, that's us in our discussion on the Halloween trilogy. It's been an experience for sure watching all these movies. But there's no other better time of year to do it than this year. So, all right, John Carpenter, take us out. We'll see you guys sometime within the next year.